Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining the Tim Hollenden Show today. I am super stoked about my guest today, Ryan Rutman. Ryan's comes to us from the Owensboro, Kentucky area. Ryan, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today and share your wealth of knowledge to our real estate friends out there. And let's get started. Let's have some fun.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, listen, I don't want to steal much of your thunder, but as I promoted the airing of this live show today, I did mention, Ryan came from RE/MAX, and so did I. So we share that. And like you, I was never, ever, ever leaving RE/MAX. Super happy. And so kind of just let's go back to day one in your real estate career and kind of bring everybody forward to kind of what you've been doing. And I know you're a huge producer. You've won the Icon Award a couple of times with eXp. Let's dive into all of that. Back to just your real estate career.
Yeah, so I'm in Owensboro, Kentucky, which is my wife's hometown, Siobhan, and she sells with me as well. But this is her hometown, and I'm from Southern Ohio originally, and we moved here in 2006, 2007. Had a couple small businesses, and I got my arm twisted into getting into real estate in 2008.
That's Siobhan?
No, it was a friend of mine that was in real estate.
Okay.
So 2008 housing market crisis. We're in economic recession. Everybody knows the story from 2008. And
great year to get started, right?
Yeah. And I'm in a town I'm not from and don't know anybody. So it was, and we had a brand new baby at home too. So it was, I jumped off a cliff and learned how to fly with no wings on the way down really quick. So that's kind of where we started. And within 5 years, I just worked my tail off. And within 5 years, I was in the top 5 in the market and production. And I was very fortunate to start with RE/MAX. I had a connection at RE/MAX. And so I spent 15 years at RE/MAX and didn't have to bounce around from brokerage to brokerage. I started there and I settled in, and it was great. So, and that's kind of where my trajectory went.
Yep.
I was platinum for RE/MAX. I had 7 years in, I think I hit platinum for the first time, and then hit it every year after that up until I left RE/MAX to come to eXp. And I've got a lot of nice trophies.
Yeah, platinum, that's quite an accomplishment. And even starting at a RE/MAX model, most people don't do that. Most people graduate to an organization like that. I know I did. I started at an ERA franchise, and 7 years later went to RE/MAX, and
yes,
holy crap, I didn't know life was that good. And until
right.
I was educated about eXp. Thank God I had an open mind and was willing to look just, to be educated. But talk about your decision to move. I know you told me before the show you were never leaving RE/MAX. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
What was it that made you look, and what was it that made you come?
Yeah. So, early on in my career, we kind of started developing our own systems. We were using our own tools as far as CRM and, all the tools we use to run our business. We were always kind of creating our own little business, and we never relied on RE/MAX a whole lot for the tools that they offered. So it just got to a point where it's like, wow, I'm doing all this production, and I'm looking at what I'm giving to RE/MAX every year. And so for about the last 2 years before I left before I left RE/MAX to go to eXp, Siobhan and I had a lot of discussions about, what are we getting for this money, right? But we knew at the end of the day, I didn't want to go to any other franchise in our market. The only other option for me was become a broker and be an independent brokerage. And to me, I just didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to be a broker. I didn't want to have the responsibility of the agents and being a principal broker. That's just not where my head's at.
Right.
So somewhere along the lines, someone said you should look at eXp, and I was like, I've heard about it, but nah, I'm good, and it kept getting brought up to me a few times. And finally I was like, okay, fine. We met with Elizabeth Monarch. And so I went from 15 years of bleeding red, white, and blue, to 3 weeks later, us saying we're leaving RE/MAX. Yeah. So it was crazy.
What were those 3 weeks like? A lot of sleepless nights.
A lot of sleepless nights, because I'm a very, like, my whole thing really was I'm a very loyal person, and the owner of our Remax, we got to be best friends. I mean, we were going to dinner with him and his wife. We go to his house for dinner. Our kids are friends with his kids, and so really that was what called for me was that loyalty, me cutting that off, worrying about our friendship, worrying about what that would look like. But at the end of the day, I had to make a decision that was best for me and my family and my business. And it was eXp. And that was one of the hardest phone calls I've ever had to make, calling him to tell him I was leaving Remax. But when I did, it was like I had a pit in my stomach making that call. But when we hung the phone up, it was like 5,000 pounds were lifted off of my shoulder. Yes, it was very liberating. So,
well, you got to respect and admire loyalty. I was the same way, a little bit different situation because I owned my Remax. I sold it, but I still ran the company for the new owners for 3 years. And my situation was similar. But that bridge is hard to burn, and hopefully that ended well. We haven't talked about this, obviously, but what I found, most brokers, if it's truly going to better the agent that's leaving, they want what's best for you. I mean,
absolutely.
If they're a decent human being, that's the way that conversation should go. And I won't ask you how it went, because it really is irrelevant. But good people want to see good people succeed, and if it's right for your family and for yourself, that's what you should do. And they recognize that. But Remax is a great company. I have no regrets whatsoever. Other than same regret most people have at eXp, and I wish I'd have come sooner, or I wish I'd have come when I first saw it, because a lot of people don't come in 3 weeks. I studied the model, part of it because I was still working through my no compete from selling the company, but I studied the model for 60 plus days.
Did you? Okay.
And so my sleepless nights went for a long time, but
I
was so excited and just, oh my gosh. But and I was kind of burned out. I don't know about you, but I was at a stage in my career, I was kind of burned out, and it put a new spunk in my step, because we own this freaking company now. I didn't own Remax.
Right.
I own eXp.
Yes.
So
we were like, we needed a change. And we felt that coming for a long time, and we knew it had to happen. And so that 5,000 pounds being off my shoulders, that was from the excitement of knowing we were, for the first time in a long time, going to be rejuvenated with a new energy. And I think that energy carried over to last year, and we had more volume last year than we ever have in our entire 15 years. And I think it was just because of the mental rejuvenation that we experienced. It was a new energy. Yeah.
So you've sold more real estate at eXp than you ever sold at Remax.
Yep, we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
what do you attribute that to?
I've never really had like a magic formula or secret bullet, or silver bullet, whatever they say. But, we've just always been very disciplined in our business, and we've always treated it like a business. I mean, it's all the things you always hear from everybody. But, I think that, just having that commitment day to day with the habits and treating it like a business and we take very good care of our customers, and we are very active with our sphere of influence. And so really, once I realized that people were coming to me and our team and not Remax, that helped me make that transition, knowing that people aren't going to care really where I'm at. And so I may as well be in a brokerage that has the most possible upside for me and my family, and allow me to do what I've always done. So
and I can identify with that too. Your clients want what's best for you too, because I had that same fear, I'll call it. That was my only fear in making the move from Remax to eXp. Is like, oh, what will my customers say?
Right.
What will my clients say?
Yeah.
eXp wasn't the name then. I've been at eXp over 5 years, and we weren't the name we are today. We didn't have 88,000 agents in 24 countries back then. So but my clients, the conversation was simple, and they're like, no. One said, I didn't know what brokerage you were with anyway, Tim.
Right. I actually went through a testing period where I'd see clients out, and I'd just ask them. They'd say, how's real estate going, or how's the market? And I'd say, good. And I'd say, hey, while we're talking about it, if I had to ask you what brokerage I was with, what would you say? And most people would say, well, aren't you the Ryan Rutman Group? Because I've got my own logo and I've done a really good job of branding it over the years. And or some people would say, well, I know it's red, white, and blue, and my personal logo is red, white, and blue, just like the Remax logo. And I'd say, which logo? And they'd say your Ryan Rutman logo. So
Yeah.
it was just over and over again. People were not associating me with Remax. They just weren't. So
Right. Yeah. And, intellectually we knew that, but I think
right.
you have to go through that transition, because I was always with a big brand, and now we're with the company, the largest independent real estate company in the United States is eXp Realty. We're actually larger than Remax in the US today.
Incredible. It's incredible.
They're still a little bit bigger up than we are globally, but just phenomenal growth. When I came to the company, we had 6,800 agents.
Oh, wow.
And today we're over 88,000.
Over 88,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very exciting being a part of it. Every day I'm watching the stock, and, I'm into it. I love it. Love being a part of it. So.
Yeah. You bring up stock. Was stock did the fact that you were going to own part of this company mean anything to you? Did the stock mean anything to you, or the 5 ways you can accumulate stock while you're here? Was that part of your decision?
Absolutely. Because you look at it and you go, okay, so for just doing what I've always done, running my real estate business, contacting people, like doing what we've always done to grow a real estate business, none of that changes. And for just continuing to do that the way we've always done it, there's another way I'm going to accumulate income and wealth over here. And that's something that, that's something that's never been on the radar of the big franchises, Remax, Keller Williams has the profit, but that was definitely an appealing part of it, because you can just do some simple math and realize that at the end of 10 years, if you just continue to do this, here's what you could have. And, Siobhan and I say, that's going to be that's our Florida house money one day,
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have people call me all the time, text me, email me saying, Tim, thank you so much for educating me on the eXp opportunity. Ultimately, they came, and everybody comes for different reasons, but so many people have thanked me because they've done things. One person retired their spouse. Oh, wow. Another person bought a house for their parents, and their parents were renters their entire life. I mean, just life-changing stories. And you and I, we're doing the exact same thing today that we did for our prior brokerages.
That's it.
That's it. So it's an amazing company if you're an agent that wants to plan for the future and not live transaction to transaction.
Yeah, and the other side of the stock too that I think is important is not only am I accumulating the stock, but because all eXp agents are owners and we're all invested in that stock, we all want to see the whole company do well. And that naturally lends itself to a level of collaboration that I never experienced in my 15 years at Remax.
Yeah.
Not just locally, but even on a national scale. To me, that's been one of the most eye-opening parts of eXp, is just that the willingness of people to share inside the workplace, and it's because we're all owners of the company. We want everybody to do well. We want the company to do well.
Absolutely.
Common sense. So
when we were in my case, I worked for 2 companies, and I had an independent brokerage too in another state for part of that time as well. You've only been at one other company, but my experience is just like yours. The training was done by the smartest agent in the room.
Yep.
But they would never give you everything because they knew they were training their competition.
Yeah.
And at eXp, I want to pour into you. I want to pour into somebody in another state that I don't even know, because if I can help somebody else win, the company wins. And when the company's winning, all of us agent owners are winning.
That's right.
That's, collaboration. You hit the nail on the head. One of our core values, it's actually my favorite core value, because that experience with me has been second to none. People constantly pouring into to that. And you see, part of the organization that you and I are with is the Freedom Team. And the Freedom Team is about 2,600 eXp agents that have banded together. And our sole purpose is to help one another and and teach one another how to be financially free, time free, and location free. Because you can be a successful agent at any brokerage and just do tons and tons and tons of transactions, have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the time to spend it,
right,
or the locations to spend it, or you go to that beautiful island in the Caribbean, but you're not with your kids building sandcastles, you're on your laptop in the room.
That's right.
It makes a huge difference. So
trading time for money. Yep.
Exactly. So it's helped me personally get off the transaction treadmill. I didn't want to be 80 years old still unlocking doors like so many of my real estate friends still do to this day. And I've lost friends because of COVID, 3 of them, in fact, that are real estate people. 2 of them used to be on my personal sales team even. I mean, just people very, very close to me. And, they were on the transaction treadmill, and, it's sad, but, there's a way to get paid multiple ways for doing the same thing that you and I used to do at our former firms.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I know, Sean, you were talking about your all's dedication. Siobhan was supposed to be on the show with us today as well. And, last thing, came up, she's out helping clients. So I respect that. So please tell her hello.
I will.
What else would you like to leave our audience with today? I don't want to wrap up too soon, but I'd love to hear your take on the market, kind of what you're doing, anything you can say to the other agent population to help them develop the discipline that you have, the tricks of the trade you'd like to share with anybody out there, anything specific you'd like to talk about?
Well, it's funny. Inman had their Inman Connect this week out in, I think they were in Vegas.
Yes.
I'm getting the emails every morning, and I'm reading them, and it's amazing how many times eXp was mentioned in these different speeches this week. And one thing that kind of stood out to me was the idea of, the generation of buyers and sellers that we're going to be working with in the future. They expect it to be easy. They expect it to be high tech. They expect all those things quick. And that's what eXp is set up for. We were always kind of working in that direction, even when we were at RE/MAX. So that's another reason it was a very natural transition for us. But I would just say, anybody that's listening, that's considering eXp, or if you're building your business that way and you're paying attention to the way buyers and sellers want a real estate transaction to go in today's world, eXp is the one that will allow you to do that for your clients. And that kept being highlighted in these emails, these articles I was reading from these speakers at Inman. And it's so true. And I think that's one reason why we've been successful, is because we've built out those systems to make it easy for our clients. I always say we want to be as seamless as possible for you. We want to get to the end of the transaction and you look at us and go, wow, that was easy. That's the goal. And eXp really lends itself to allowing that to happen. Especially, and you asked about our market, especially in a market where, you got low inventory, demand's high, things got to happen quick.
Right.
So the more systems and tools that you're utilizing to make it as easy as possible, then you're going to be a leg up against your competition for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you taking advantage of any of the amazing tools in the platform that eXp puts out there for all of us?
SkySlope is unbelievable. So during that 3 weeks, we were thinking about making a change. I met our transaction coordinator, Darlene, at Panera for coffee one morning. I said, here's what we're thinking. I want you to dive into this system called SkySlope. Let's meet back here in a week and tell me what you think, because that's her world. She's dealing with the back end, and she's a very valuable piece of our team. And I wanted her input. And we met a week later, and she said, Ryan, this is unbelievable. She goes, if this is an example of what everything else will be like if you make this change, she goes, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. So SkySlope's been incredible. Just the collaboration with the eXp staff and how easy it is. We haven't really dove into KV Core much. We've always been follow-up boss people.
Yep.
And I think I would say this, when we started with eXp, Siobhan and I kind of made a decision we didn't want to make a change and then start spending too much time trying to figure out new tools, and we wanted to make sure our sales didn't suffer.
Absolutely.
So really for the first year, we didn't dive into a whole lot of the offerings.
Mhm.
But now we're, exploring the revenue share more, and we're looking into more things that eXp has to offer. So,
Okay. Yeah, and we'll talk about revenue share here in just a minute because that's on my list too. But
yeah,
to kind of wrap up stock and with what you were just talking about, I want our audience to know you're a 2-time Icon Award winner at eXp. You and Siobhan are. Let's talk about what that means.
I'm not officially for this year, but I'm right there. So.
Well, yeah, you're close enough to call it a win.
Yeah, right. We are. Yeah, Siobhan and I are.
What's that mean? What's the Icon? Educate our audience on what that means.
Yeah. So you hit your cap. All eXp agents are on a $16,000 cap, 80-20 split, and you reach your $16,000 paid into eXp. At that point, if you sell 20 more homes, you're considered an Icon agent. And at that point, you have the ability to receive back from eXp all of your 16,000 you paid in with your split to eXp. The second you become Icon, you have the opportunity to earn all that $16,000 back in the form of company stock. And immediately you get 8,000 of it. So you get half of it right away.
Right.
And this lends to the conversation about collaboration. And so another 4,000 of that 16 you get back by cultural commitments. So you have to make commitments to get into eXp University, do presentations about different topics, and be a part of that ongoing collaboration and training and knowledge that eXp offers all of its agents. So if you meet that cultural commitment, you get $4,000 of your 16 back in the form of company stock. And then you go to both of their events for the year and you get your other 4,000.
Yeah.
And I know that's a recent change, I think, Tim, but
yeah, they're making that even easier now.
Yeah.
And for our viewers, eXp University, that's our office. Because our office is in the cloud. I don't know about you. I go to our office, 2-3 times a day. Physical office space, we have 4,000 offices because we're a partner with the Regus companies where I can walk into any Regus office in the world and meet a client and sit. I was at Regus for 9 hours yesterday, for example. There's 3 Regus offices in Louisville, and I was in one of them for 9 hours. It's the 3rd or 4th time I've been there, this year so far.
Wow.
But the stock is huge. I've won that Icon Award 3 of the 5 years. The first 3 years I was with eXp, and I've kind of backed a little bit away from production. Yeah. My team's still killing it.
Yeah.
But that first Icon Award I won, our stock was $3.80 a share the year I won it in 2018.
Oh my gosh.
Let's call it $4 for round numbers.
Right.
And right now it's $24 and change today. I looked at it, 30 minutes before the show started. So, it's 6 times more valuable than it was when I got it. So that $16,000 is worth $96,000 today. That's just one stock award.
That's one stock award.
It's life-changing kind of money. I don't know. Right. And,
absolutely.
I didn't have, and stocks go up and down. We have no control of that other than, we keep selling a crap ton of real estate.
That's right.
We're the only profitable real estate company that's publicly traded. Last year,
I saw that.
The stats have been staggering. And back to your Inman comment, people are definitely calling us the disruptor of the real estate model, replacing the old-fashioned models. But and for our audience, there's 5 ways you can accumulate stock. When you close your first deal, you get a $200 stock award every year. If you recruit an agent to the company, you get a $400 stock award. When that agent closes their first deal, you get a $400 stock award when you reach that $16,000 cap. And this is, we talked about the Icon, a $16,000 potential on the stock award for the Icon. And there's a 5th way you can accumulate stock, and I call it buying $10 bills for $9 a piece, because we can take 5% of our commission checks. And this is completely optional. You don't have to do this, ladies and gentlemen, but you can take 5% of your commission check and buy stock with it at a 10% discount.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is life-changing,
So I will say our first year we did that. We actually started it kind of late. But we put in 11,000 off the top of our check automatically, Morgan Stanley account. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the year, we had, that grew to 18,000.
Awesome. So, not a bad return.
No. That's like
Was that
selling another house.
80%?
Yeah, right.
70, 80%? Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned revenue sharing. I know you and Siobhan are building an organization within the eXp organization as well. Um, and you mentioned Keller and their profit sharing plan. Let's kind of compare and contrast that a little bit. Talk about what you're doing there and what you'd
Yeah.
like to say maybe to some of the agents that you're friends with in your local market or in other markets about the possibility of connecting with yourself and Siobhan and just, I know you're like me. We don't ever hard sell anybody. I just like
Right.
to put the information in front of somebody, let them make their own decision on what's best for them and their family. But talk about that, the revenue sharing model, the third way we get paid at eXp.
So it kind of back to the point of that first year, we didn't want to really get distracted from selling. So
Yep.
we, and revenue share was something we just didn't dive into. But this year we're kind of making a commitment to it because, and this is, I met with a girl yesterday, an agent in town, and this is what I told her. I said, you're a young, skillful agent that has a lot of talent. And knowing what I know about this company now, after experiencing it for a year and a half, I feel like it's my responsibility to let someone like yourself know about it. Whether you decide to do it or not, that's up to you. But I believe in it so much that it's my responsibility to share it with other agents. And so, I had the conversation with her. She asked me how that compares to the profit share at Keller Williams, because we have a Keller Williams and they do a lot of recruiting. And at the end of the day, just being a basic business tells you that profit's what's left at the end of the year. Income minus expenses is profit. And
Right.
if there's no profit, then what is there to share? Or if there's very little profit, there's not much to share. And at the end of the day, profit is determined by how well that broker owner manages that business. And maybe I'm looking at that wrong, but that, to me, that's the simplicity of it.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about this, but I was a broker owner. And the last thing I wanted to do at the end of the year was give Uncle Sam more money than I had to. So I'd spend money
Yeah.
that maybe I didn't need to. But yeah, if I want to spend money and enhance something in the office, that lowered my profit.
That's right.
But if I was paying out profit share, that meant less to my agents too.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, with revenue share, eXp is given, so the eXp is collecting their 20% of the transactions throughout the year, and they're giving that back to the agents in form of revenue share. So they're taking it off of the top. It doesn't has nothing to do with the profitability of the agent or the team, or it's just eXp saying, hey, we're going to reward you for helping us grow this company, and we're going to reward you out of our 20%. So again, that lends itself to everybody just sell as much real estate as we can, because all that does is help grow the company and allow for more revenue share from eXp. And so that's the huge difference between the two models. And I think that's where, to me, that's a game changer for eXp for sure, compared to the other models.
It really is. And I don't know if you know these stats or not, but I know you know this, but eXp, for our listeners, we give back to the agents 50% of the revenue every single month that we take in.
Yes, it's incredible.
And we keep the 50% that we didn't give back to run the company.
Yeah.
And we're profitable and we have zero debt, none.
Yep.
That's a financially stable organization. But the number I wanted to share with you and with our audience is we paid back to the agents $240 million in 2022.
In the form of
revenue share and in stock awards.
Okay, in stock awards.
Yes, sir. 240 million. Glenn Sanford said on stage, it was either the shareholder meeting in the spring or the build meeting we just did last month, that he expects that to be $1 billion a year in 5 years that he's given back to the agent owners.
It's incredible.
Freaking incredible.
It is incredible. And all that does is motivate every agent with eXp to go sell more real estate.
Yeah. And help each other even more.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So
well, this is awesome. As we wrap up, is there any sort of parting comments you'd like to talk about and leave before we go? Anything you wanted me to ask that I've failed to ask you?
No, this has been great. And I think I would just say to anybody listening that is considering making a change or considering eXp, just open your mind to it. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but be willing to open your mind and look at where you're at and look at where you could be and what you could have. And I heard Glenn Sanford say, who I think he's incredible, by the way, but I heard him say in one of his morning, he goes for his runs and he gets on Instagram and does a live, and he always has some kind of thought for the day. Or I heard him say a couple months ago that if you think about the big box brokerages, the traditional franchises in the market, he said all they are, and this isn't, I'm not trying to be mean, but it just is what it is. And I didn't realize it until I was gone. But the big box franchises and brokerages, he said all they are dinosaurs teaching dinosaurs how to be better dinosaurs.
I had not heard that.
Yeah. And I thought that literally sums it up in one statement. And I think, like I said, I didn't realize that until I was outside of it and opened my mind to what other possibilities are in this industry. So I would just say, keep an open mind.
Yeah. And that comment is not being mean. It's being factual. I mean, every publicly traded real estate company out there, they put their quarterly earnings out where everybody can see it. It's an SEC requirement. Nobody else made money last year.
Right.
And why? Because they have that broken dinosaur-ish model, old-fashioned, if you will, brick and mortar expense that we don't have.
Yep.
We are profitable despite of the little bit of the dip the market took in the last year and a half. But we were built for this. We were built in 2009 because of the last recession.
Yeah.
When Glenn founded the company, his goal was to create a model that could not be hurt in any market. So that's what we're blessed to be a part of.
Absolutely.
But well, awesome, Ryan. Anything else?
I'm good. I think I've got my thoughts out. So we'll probably get off here. We'll probably get off here and I'll think, man, I wish I would have said that. But.
Yeah. Well, we'll do part 2 another day.
Okay. All right.
Ryan, thank you so much. Our audience that are watching and listening today, thank you all so much. I appreciate you being part of the Tim Hollenden Show. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you,
tell Siobhan I really missed her today. Love to have seen her pretty face on the screen as well with you, but maybe we'll get her on the next interview as well.
There you go. For sure.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day, man. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.